There was a time a few years back when analysts seemed to think that all gaming was going to be moved to PC gaming and, well, mobile gaming. And the PC gaming thing makes sense because you can build your rig as strong as you want, or you can just use the laptop that you already have. While in mobile gaming, because, well, obviously, as Blizzard told us, everyone's got a phone. And the technology is moving quite quickly, and that's where a lot of the money in gaming already is coming from. Obviously, that's not the way things have gone so far, but a lot of console developers have begun dipping their toes into the mobile market, and Nintendo is not shied away from these little guys either. As a Nintendo fan, there's a lot of reasons this makes me really excited, but the truth of it is, Nintendo isn't making these games for me. And if you own a Switch, for example, they're really not making it for you either. And I think that's probably the best thing they can do. Let's talk about it. This conversation comes to mind as of late largely because of the recent trailer of Dr. Mario World, a mobile Dr. Mario game announced back in January of 2019 and hitting our cellular devices on July 10th. Unless Mario Kart Tour Shadow drops first, this will be the 6th mobile game that Nintendo has published, and has a chance of legitimately being the most popular. In 2016, we saw Miitomo, then Super Mario Run. In 2017, it was Fire Emblem Heroes and Animal Crossing Pocket Camp. Last year in 2018, we got Dragalia Lost, a completely new IP. And this year in 2019, we'll see at least Mario Kart Tour and Dr. Mario World. Right about now, you might be yelling at your screen, what about Pokemon Go? And well, that was really Pokemon Company and Niantic that were on that game. Although Nintendo certainly benefits from that game, it's not really theirs to claim or leverage. But I can tell you this, they would love for any of their games to be even close to as successful as Pokemon Go was, and still is. But success of this kind of thing is largely broken down to knowing your target audience, that group being large enough, and them being aware and finally invested in the product. And you may think that you and I, as Nintendo fans, are the target audiences, but you haven't been generally all that happy with what's been offered. Well, that means that either Nintendo isn't doing a great job at pleasing the ones they're trying to, or you and I were never the target demographic at all. I kind of think it's the latter. Disregarding Miitomo, the first real mobile game Nintendo released was Super Mario Run. The game was free to start and allowed you to play 3 levels as many times as you wanted, with overall limited functionality in that model. Essentially, this is a demo version of a standard video game. If you liked this demo, you could buy in for $10 and get the whole game. I bought the full game and played it all, and at the time there wasn't a ton of content, but there was more as time went on, and it was quality stuff all in all. But that $10, on the Switch or really any other console, that price would be a steal for just about any game. I just bought Cadence of Hyrule, for example, for $25, and it took me probably less time to complete all of that one time through than to 100% Super Mario Run. $10 is a great price point, unless you're competing with the free that most other mobile games are. Frankly, $10 is pretty steep in the mobile game world. But with this game, Nintendo was trying to do right by their fans. They were essentially saying, hey, you want to play a game from a beloved franchise but on your phone? Here's how we can make that happen. But the truth of the matter is that barely anyone fully bought in. The mobile game crowd was put off by the price, and the Nintendo console gamers didn't love the experience, as it technically didn't stack up to the gameplay of a mainline Mario game in terms of pacing or mechanics, even though it was great for what it was trying to be. Next up, Fire Emblem Heroes went the freemium route and has been doing substantially better financially than any other Nintendo mobile game. There are technically loot boxes and there are microtransactions, but the game also gives a good amount of items depending on how you play. That game was followed by Animal Crossing Pocket Camp, that I frankly think may have been waiting for the results of the prior two to tailor its mechanics. It's likely to me that if Mario Run had performed well, Pocket Camp may have gotten rid of all of the pay to not wait mechanics and just cost $10 as well. But that wasn't the case. But you know all of that already. Nintendo tried to appeal to traditional gamers with an upfront cost on really their largest IP, and that didn't quite do it. But all in all, this isn't really just a price issue now, is it? Recently, there was a beta for Mario Kart Tour, and the consensus seems to be that the game itself plays well, but there are many metagame mechanics that are not conducive to the long play format of Mario Kart that we're all used to. But this is kind of the thesis on the whole thing. I'll keep explaining this as I go on, but the main point is this. Nintendo isn't giving us, and shouldn't be giving us, the traditional regular long play experience that we're used to out of their games. This is why we're not the target demographic. A lot of complaints about Mario Kart Tour, for example, seem to be pointed towards progression of the game and what we traditionally consider achieving the end game, or especially hearing something along the lines of, yeah, it's great to play for like 20 minutes, but because of such and such mechanic, it won't really easily allow me to play much longer than that. Yeah, that's not on accident. This is a huge indicator that we are not the target audience. Outside of multiplayer experiences in console games, the goal of a game is to beat it and clear it out of your backlog. Try approaching Candy Crush Saga with that same approach. There are over 3,500 levels. Approaching that mindset that there is so much more content than you could ever even fathom completing puts into perspective how we shouldn't approach some of these games how we would a traditional game. Personally, I like to always have at least one game on my phone that I can pick up and play for like 5 to 20 minutes while I'm waiting for something, and then put it away. And that's not to say there's not games that'll let you play longer than that, but typically those will have ads as their payment mechanics, so that's kind of not the direction we'd want to go with Nintendo games. There seem to be two kinds of mobile gamers. The kind that I am that spends 5 to 20 minutes in a game at a time, and when that time is up may stop altogether, or perhaps switch to another game, but never dream of dropping a penny on them. Or the kind that spend a ton of time in their mobile games and subsequently a lot of money. These, as we know, are considered whales. I think it's easy for people in my camp at least to criticize that because that's not often how we operate. But, you know, really if somebody wants to spend a couple $100s in a couple of months on some kind of mobile game, that's their prerogative. And I spend several $100s a year on games, so I guess who am I to judge? I just like keeping the ones that I buy. Of course, games shouldn't condone addictive gambling behaviors, but that's something we don't really have time to talk about right now. And really, if parents are turning off the payment options on their kids' phones, if kids are what we're talking about mostly here, then that shouldn't even be an issue, and it should teach you patience instead. So Dr. Mario World, I realize we haven't spent a ton of time talking about it yet, but this is such a broad topic that it's hard to just dive into the deep end. From the trailer, it looks just like Candy Crush, but with roughly Dr. Mario gameplay, and several characters from the franchise. Nintendo has said before their goal is that their mobile games would draw out new fans who would then come over to Nintendo consoles for the full experience. Nintendo isn't walking away from what they've always done, rather they're reaching out a hand to try to invite more others in. This is a bit of a hard sell with Dr. Mario as there isn't a modern Switch equivalent to draw in new customers, but with Mario Kart Tour, that certainly is the case. If you're tired of having to wait to be able to drive again on your phone, pick up a Switch and play as much as you'd like. But Dr. Mario, in my opinion, has the absolute best shot at being the ultimate Nintendo mobile game. It caters exactly to the most popular demographics of mobile gamers. It's a puzzle game, it's free, and already has brand recognition. It's playable in bite-sized chunks, but will have increasing content over time. I only worry that there may not be enough content to start out with, and Nintendo will need to always have more levels available than the majority of players have already reached. And on that, kind of my last example on this point. We just got done with E3. And we didn't see anything about Dr. Mario in the Treehouse or in the Direct. But then the trailer came out just 1 week after E3, which means it was ready back then, but we weren't their target demographic. Also, Mario Run, for example, got a big push at the Apple event, and with Jimmy Fallon and other stuff like that, that's not aimed specifically at gamers. And this is where all these other developers keep making mistakes. They keep announcing Diablo Immortal and Elder Scrolls Blades and Commander Keen at games conferences, where we are the tangential audience but not the primary one. So yeah, all in all, I don't want Nintendo to do anything predatory to their future fanbase or their current fanbase, but I want them to make mobile games that mobile gamers will like and that can introduce them into the broader world of console games. One certainly isn't better than the other, but I know that I love Nintendo console games, so come on, I mean, just why not share that love around, bring more people into the action. But that's what I think. What do you think? Is there a specific game franchise you'd like to see turned into a mobile game for Nintendo? Let me know down in the comments below, and we'll pick some of those out and talk about them on our podcast directly to you, which is in the link down below in the description. And also, while you're down there, leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more videos like this every Tuesday and Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. That's about it for me. Yep, I'm pretty much done. See you guys later. Hasta la pasta.